All right, let's start this one over. Let's get. Duperas y Duperas today on DOOP By The River. We're going to talk about Ray Gaddis. I know you guys are all upset about the news. I am as well. So we're going to all vent and talk about the Ray Gaddis retirement. We're going to look around the league. Guys, we are getting closer and closer to the start of the MLS season. Don't go anywhere, guys. You do not want to miss this episode of DOOP By The River. And let's get this started. Hey, done! And that is right. We're doing take two here, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, everyone, to DOOP By The River, the show where we follow everything Philadelphia you need, brought to you by Philly Sports Network. Before we move forward, ladies and gentlemen, please, look, first off, if you guys are watching live, thank you so much. Truly means the world, whether if you're coming from the DOOP By The River Twitter account or if you're coming from my YouTube channel, El Parcero Philly's YouTube channel. Seriously, thank you so much. Don't forget to follow if you haven't already to us on Twitter. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and like this live as well, so we can get this out to all of the soccer fans around this area and around this country. We will also be having this on the PSN radio as well. Wherever you stream the podcast, we will have it on there. And we're also going to reboot the DOOP By The River podcast account. So wherever you listen to podcasts, it'll be on PSN radio, and it'll also be on DOOP By The River's podcasting account as well. So guys, it's finally here. It's DOOP By The River Tuesday, and we don't have no Tim Lovingood today. It's all good, but we have, of course, my man, Mr. Justin Freiberg. Justin, what's going on, baby? How you doing? Welcome to DOOP By The River Tuesday. You ready, man?
Of course, it ain't a Tuesday unless we're recording. So
on a Tuesday,
I'm all ready to go. Let's break down some soccer news here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm excited as well, man. First off, it's definitely great to talk to you. This month is definitely special for a lot of our listeners that do listen in. Justin, it's International Women's. It's Women's History Month, but yesterday was International Women's Day. I'll be honest with you because I feel like a couple of our listeners probably have been on the same boat. When I was a kid, I really didn't celebrate International Women's Day. We would learn about women's history in school, but, I don't really know too much what to do. I usually I'll call my mom, talk to my girlfriend's mom, just say Happy International Women's Day. And, thank you for, being the role models that you kind of are, being the people that you are in my life. But I mean, what should we do to kind of give recognition to especially some of the fierce women that are in some of these industries, these tough industries, man. But I kind of want to get your thoughts on it, man.
As a kid, you never really think too much about it. At least
I never knew about it. So
I never did much as a kid. I mean, my mom is always been my someone that I've always been able to rely on. Someone that without my mom, I wouldn't be in the position I am. So I love her, and I always tell her as much as I can that that she means the world to me, because what guy isn't a bit of a mama's boy if he'd be lying to if he wouldn't admit it.
Absolutely, man. That's true. But moms are everything.
Of course, and there's a lot of important, especially I have a lot of important women in my life. I said my mom, my grandmother was a huge influence. My girlfriend is absolutely my rock and someone I go to for a lot of things. And of course, in the union sphere, there's a lot of impactful women. I mean, we talk about Marissa Pella, potentially right now becoming a national juggernaut in terms of covering the NWSL, covering the MLS, doing Champions League, and and by the way, we got I'll say shouts to one of our favorite photographers, actually two of our favorite photographers, Alex McIntyre of PSN, of course. Shouts to the PSN folks, and our favorite Union photog, Morgan Tenza.
Yes, sir.
Morgan, right now covering a conference tournament, and if you go to if you do the Union happy hours, she may be taking us on a little field trip covering the tournament down in AC.
Nice.
So, it's. I like to think during this month, like we like to look now at the at how the strides that women have made both in sports media and in sports in general.
Oh yeah.
And we of course here we're not blind to it. There's still obviously a lot of groundwork that can still be made up, and there's still a lot of stuff that can go along the way. But to where it's come, it's definitely a good sign to see. And hey, when the we talk about men's soccer all the time, but the U.S. women's national team is the most dominant team in ever.
Oh my God! Yeah,
overall ever. Like every country is trying to emulate what they do at the moment.
True. I wish Colombia could be nearly an ounce as good as what the U.S. women's team is. It definitely would be awesome. No, you hit the good. You mean the good notes there. I mean, especially with even us. We're both SOB members, and we have some amazing SOB women. For me personally, I'm a big advocate in women in sports. I think for me, women have a great insight as well. They deserve every right to have an opinion in this industry as much as a man does. And even when I look at the union wise, obviously we got Marissa Pilla and Renee Washington. We got some really good, you mentioned the photographers as well. For me, I would love to see, some of the females in our fan base to get into kind of what we do, podcasting or content creation and whatnot. Someone else, independently covering the sport as well. There's some amazing, women in this league. When you look around the league, we've had on this show, we've had, Cheyenne Foster from Between Clean Sheets. She's fantastic. She's one of the best content creators, and we have one of the best fans around MLS. We had Valeria back last year. Actually, LAFC preview, we had Valeria. It was the third ever episode, or fourth ever episode of DOOP By The River podcast, and we had her on. So a lot of great female role models out there, and that's what it's all about. It's about cultivating the next generation, and hopefully more and more females get into this beautiful game that we call Major League Soccer here in America. Yes, sir. All right, guys. Well, let's shift over here and let's talk about some of the stuff in our backyard. Obviously, it's a little, Justin, let's be real. It's a little slow right now when it comes to Rumorville and just talk with the union in general. But however, we got some news last week that honestly, I don't think any of us really expected. Even the union themselves did not expect to happen. So yesterday, I believe around Thursday, I have to double check. Ray Gaddis decided to announce in the morning that he was going to hang up. He was going to hang up the boots after a 9-year career with the Philadelphia Union. He decided to hang up the boots, and it's definitely for me. When I got the news, I don't know about you, Justin, but last night was a late night for me. I think I was covering the Flyers or Sixers game, and I think it was a Sixers game actually. And I got to bed a little late, woke up a little late, and I wake up and the first thing I can see on my phone, I'm still half asleep, and I see all over Twitter everyone's saying that Ray Gaddis retired, and then I see the union actually tweeted out, and I'm just sitting there are you serious? This is how I'm starting my Thursday? I have to say goodbye to one of my favorite players on this Philadelphia Union team, especially in this era. Not everyone's going to think about Ray Gaddis, Justin, but Ray Gaddis is so important for what we have been doing over the past couple of seasons. You need veteran players like a Ray Gaddis to cultivate the culture that you are seeing before our eyes. So me personally, man, it definitely sucks. But look, Ray is an absolutely beautiful human being. We've talked about it on the show. That guy has a heart of gold. So it's definitely going to suck seeing him go. But this is what he wants to do. And alluded to some family issues he wants to dedicate some time to his family. So you can't hate on that as a fan of the union. So Ray, thank you so much, man. But Justin, I want to get your thoughts, brother, because you like me, man. You live and breathe and die by this team, man. So, Ray, what does this mean to you, brother? What does this mean?
You think of Ray like when we said over the years, and I've said it too. Man, if we could get that right back, like we'd be solid. And Ray started as a right back. He's gone through regime change.
I know.
When we thought he was going to be the right back, they drafted Keegan Rosenberry, and he was staying at left back. Like he went through GM changes. He went through coaching changes. But the thing is, like, even with that back line, okay, you knew what you were getting from Ray, but it was consistency. He rarely got hurt. I think they said of the 221 games that he played, he started 211 of them.
Right.
Like, that's a pretty good mark. And in a sport, in a day and age where you don't see many players with one team, and even in MLS, where the league has been growing to a sell within like 2 or 3 years kind of a model, people like Ray Gaddis are a dying breed in terms of longevity with a club. And you know what? For as much flack as we gave him, he was a consistent performer. And not only that, I've challenged anyone to say a bad word about Raymond Gaddis. It's impossible.
Not even Paul.
It's impossible. Like for all the stuff that Paul would joke about, and Paul even said it on his podcast, for all this stuff, he's a nice guy.
Oh yeah,
he was a nice guy on the field. I think he was like, what was it, the third or the fourth biggest streak without a in a game without a red card, and he was like one of the highest defenders. And the three people above him were all other midfielders or forwards, which for a defender not to get a red card is pretty good. And by the way, like the amount of times, like I remember people like take pictures with him, and people who like kids basically grew up with knowing Ray Gaddis and all the work he did in this community, all the work he did with the Black Players for Change, and
right.
I mean Ray is the dude got an MBA from Harvard. Like
that's so true. I forgot about that,
dude. And listen, when I saw that news, it honestly it kind of bummed me out.
Yeah, man.
Okay. We have some good young players that we know are going to be coming through, but like. You look at Ray and you're like, and like so close to like, reporting for Champions League, and you're like, man, it's like, it sucks. I wish Ray the best. He was a consummate professional on and off the field, could not have been a nicer guy. And I just say, Ray, we wish you all the best and whatever you do post career. I know he's going back to Indianapolis, where his family is.
Right.
Hopefully he comes back to the Union in some capacity at some point, and I honestly think he's, without a doubt, he's the next person in the Ring of Honor.
Oh, he better be. I will create a petition myself if he's not I'll give the Union some time. So by 2026, if he's not in there, I'm starting a petition for Ray Gaddis to be in the Ring of Honor for sure, man. But no, you hit it on so many great notes. And for me, we got to remember still, like in this era of social media with athletes and whatnot, these players need to remember that they are role models. They are role models for a lot of these kids. And to have Ray Gaddis, especially for the Union, in our first decade of being, in existence, we did a lot of the club did a lot of attracting towards the suburban families, the kids and whatnot. And being able to look up to Ray Gaddis is so important. My question for you though, like, because you mentioned a good point, like, will we see this longevity within the MLS? We know that with money comes greed. Like, you're seeing what's going on in these other leagues, like these other leagues in America. Teams are more reluctant to get rid of players because it's a business. Now that there's more and more money coming in the MLS as the years go on, like, will we see this? Like, I like look at Alonso with Seattle. Like, some of these guys who've been Bradley Wright Phillips, some of these guys who've been with the club for so long, so important in the culture, what they built there, that they leave. So, do you think that we will see longevity like this that Ray Gaddis had with one team?
No, I like to tell you that they're going to be put like in this league. Like, I think the only other player that really is quote unquote longevity now is like Diego Valeri. Like, there's not a lot of longevity in this new day and age, and I think that model of player I don't think is much. Like, I think it's almost non-existent now these days. It's because money is a big part of the game now, and it's always been, but it's more now. Like, there's really not a one team kind of player kind of like it's those days are, I think those days are long gone, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, man, I think that you are correct there. Real quick, Ian, thank you so much. Like, Justin, you don't know this, but context for you. So Ian follows me on TikTok. He's a great 5 for 5 Philly sports fan, and he always is throwing me these players that you've never heard of. Like, you see it on the screen. He's always throwing these players. Wait,
Alessandrini is the former LA Galaxy player.
That one I miss. Alessandrini, I don't think so. I don't think. But he gives me all these players that you've never heard of, and I love it. And I really do appreciate that, Ian. And this is also really cool. This is why we love Ray Gaddis. Ray Gaddis follows him on Twitter. That's why we love.
Follows a lot of people in the.
Throw me a follow, man. I'm a big fan. If you
follow him, he follows you.
I'll have to find him and follow him. That's definitely a good follow to have. What's this? So some of the players that played for the Union, like Austin Trusty. Okay. Yeah, I don't have any Union players that follows me. I need to step my game up too. Definitely need to step my game up for sure, man. Guys, thank you so much. If you guys are hopping on, really appreciate it. Definitely send over your questions. We'll try to answer some questions towards the end. We have a special guest hopping on at 8:30. Justin and I right now are just kind of talking things going on right now in our worlds of MLS dumb, I should say. Obviously Ray Gaddis retiring is a little upsetting for both of us. As far as the MLS goes, it's really been a quiet offseason, if I'm being honest, compared to some other ones. I know, really, and it's worse because our team really has been really quiet. You would expect the year that they just had, like, guns and blazing this offseason, throw it in the bag. But no, it was not. We're not really doing much of that. We're actually making it, though. That's a good part, right? We're making good money. We're not, as Union fans, we're not used to seeing the club actually making some good change here. But that's just the fact of the matter, Justin, that we're just not at that place right now. Maryland Sports Guy, this is the wrong night. This is soccer night. This is DOOP By The River. This is a Philadelphia Union podcast for Philly Sports Network. If you want, definitely check out the YouTube channel later. I will have the recap. I'm going to watch the game after this. I'm going to record right after. So definitely stay tuned to my YouTube channel later on tonight for sure, man. Justin, the other thing I kind of really wanted to talk to you about is we got some kit drops today. And you know us, we like the kit swag. Here at DOOP By The River, we absolutely love the kit swag here. I'm going to see if I can find a picture of it, but SKC put out these new kits. It's a little – Justin seems to think that they have rocked these before. I don't ever remember seeing them rock this style
before, but they've had something – I know they had the Argyle kit, but I know they had something close-ish.
Okay. I'm going to pull it up to show you guys because it's obviously interesting. And anytime we see some kits coming up – we're going to talk to you guys about it. So let me see. Let's get to – it'll take 2 seconds, guys. Bear with me. Here we go. And now, once it finishes loading up – here we go. All right, so here we go, guys. So as you guys can clearly tell, here we still got the same pattern for SKC. As far as color, I should say. Same colors for SKC. The light blue, that sky blue that they've been rocking since the Sporting Kansas City rebrand, with the navy blue. But the difference here, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys could tell, it is these stripes. It's these hoop stripes. To me, this kind of like reminds me of like, good old Scottish football with the hoop stripes. Now, if you guys remember FC, if you are an MLS OG, back in like, I don't want to say the day. I want to say Justin, like you would say like the early 2010s with the FC Dallas DOOP hoops, the FC Dallas hoops, right? Was that early 2010s? Here's a quick picture. Ooh, dude, we're gonna take you down memory lane. You're gonna like this one here. Hold on 1 second. Here we go. All right, this is some serious throwbacks here. So this is the other style here. So this is the same hoops. This is FC Dallas. I want to say this picture doesn't say, but I want to say this was from 2000. So those kits came from 2010. As you can clearly tell, the hoops, it's definitely different. Justin, what do you think, man? What do you think of these kits here?
They're not bad. That's a decent one. Is that Dax McCarty?
So yeah, that's actually Dax McCarty. I saw another picture. What's his name? Carlos Ruiz, I think, wore these, but he's not in this. Oh, he's actually in there. He's at the bottom left. No,
I believe so. I was looking at jerseys throughout the years.
Mm-hmm.
And let me share my screen. So, if you can see that jersey.
Hold on. Let me take this all out real quick, so we can show everyone. So they've rocked these before.
It's like I said,
similar.
I knew it was similar. They had something, like I said. Remember, for a while it was they were the KC Wizards up until like, what was that, like 20?
Good times, man.
2011, I think.
Yeah.
So the rebrand, when they rebranded the Sporting KC, and like I said, they had the Argyle. They've had a number of stuff. So,
right. So what are you a fan of these or?
It's simple. But
right.
The stripes are defining. Like, right. I could have been fine either way if you had gone dark blue with the light blue stripes, but I think this is a bit more pronounced, and I like it. It's very simple, very simple, but it keeps it at a very level. Like it's stuff that they like. It's on brand for them. It's not anything wild. I mean, they went Argyle at one point. Like,
right.
They've gone and they stay within their real color scheme. I think the only time they sometimes they'll introduce black, which is never, most teams can do a black kit.
Right.
But so they stay within that blue, the dark blue, light blue, sometimes gray, black. Like that color scheme is kind of in their wheelhouse.
Okay. So my last question before we move on. So obviously, with the union, we're still in like an infancy phase with our kits. So I want to ask the question, how would you feel if the union rocked something like this? Now, I know in 2019 we had the DOOP hoops where you really couldn't tell because it was like light little lines going down. It's kind of like blended in with the kit. But if the union gave you blue, like kind of what you saw there, blue and gold, would you mess with that? Would you like that? Would you rock that?
I would genuinely love blue, like I'd say a gold kit with blue hoops. Or if I said this before the jersey dropped recently, I would have loved to have seen a sash, like a blue jersey with a gold sash.
Yeah.
Or like, I don't know.
The problem with that, Justin, the problem when you lie with that is that don't you feel like the Galaxy kind of have like made that their moniker?
No.
No?
No team owns a monarch.
Down the diagonal, right?
No team owns a monarch. No, that's
Well, they don't own it, but
I think, and they haven't been on brand with that in a long time. So I don't think that.
Well, everyone last year went off brand.
Everyone went consistency because single entity, yada 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 yada, whatever that all.
Shouts to Adidas, yeah.
But no, listen. I think that it would have been. I would have been fine with that, and I've been hoping they've been trying to, get back to a gold kit, but maybe next year. You never know.
Yeah, maybe next year for sure, man. Or I'll talk to some of my connects, and we'll see what they think about a potential gold. Because you were on something there, Justin. You really were. AK Gaming, I haven't seen. Have you seen any LAFC kit drops or no?
None.
I'm assuming it's still gonna be I'm assuming it's still gonna be some black and gold.
I also don't necessarily agree with AK Gaming's Fires Away kit. I mean,
so he's been clamoring for these. Now let me see if I can find a picture. It's not terrible. It's still the white tee thing going on.
But because it's the last year of that crappy logo. I mean, they figured why not give it a swan song of something not terrible.
So let me see. Wait, is this it? This has to be it. This kind of does look like it. Actually, I can do that. Wait, I could do what you just did. So ladies and gentlemen, we're still figuring out the stream yards here. Okay. Share screen.
Yeah, that there StreamYard there.
Yeah, man. It's shouts to StreamYard. Thank you for StreamYard because this is really. So wait, did it share? Okay, so if you guys can tell, I guess I gotta go scroll down here. You see better there? Yeah, there we go. So you got kind of.
It's literally like the Union's kit last year. Except instead of kind of diagonal, it's just a cross.
Right. Yeah, it's not terrible. Listen, I hear if you're a Chicago Fire fan, man, it's got to be rough. It's got to be rough, especially what's been going on the last couple of years. But hopefully they're trying to make some change, and then they'll figure it out. Ladies and gentlemen, next up right here, I kind of look. We're getting closer to the season. Like we said, nothing much is really going on. So we want to bring on some guests here, ladies and gentlemen. We want to bring on some guests who do kind of what we do here in covering the MLS and soccer in general. So today we got, without further ado, now if you are on TikTok, you should know this man. If you don't, you need to follow him right after this episode. So without further ado, hailing from South Florida, my guy, my man, Mr. Kevin El Gringo Football. Kev, what's going on, baby? How you feeling, man?
Pleasure to speaking to you, John, again. Justin, hello. First time we speak.
Yes, sir. Yes. Justin wasn't there for that episode. So, Justin, I don't know if you watched that episode, but we had Kevin on for the Inter Miami preview. I believe it was in the season, right? Not at the MLS's back, right?
During the season.
Yes. That's so when Higuain came up here.
You mean Gonzalo couldn't do it on a rainy night in Chester, and I was there.
Oh, man, you got so pissed.
Hey, they can't do it on a rainy. Can't do it on a rainy night in Turin. Can't do it in a rainy night in Chester, right?
Kev, I'll tell you what. Union fans had a blast that night because
my God.
You got to realize in the 10 years that we've been alive, we've had Beckham, we've had Gio dos Santos, all these Zlatan. We've had all these superstars come into the soup, right, and literally just run us over. And for the first time, you had a European superstar, and we took care of him. So, Union fans really that was a special day. We put our stamp in on the.
And Johnny, don't forget the Italian hands. El Brujo doing that to that face. It just in Union circles that became an instant meme, just because of how unbelievable that reaction was. and it was hilarious, and it kicked off essentially what was, what really defined the Union's second half, which was just, whatever comes.
Not for real, man. It really was. Well, Kevin, what's going on, man? How you been since the season's ended?
Been good. Keep making videos, as you said, in TikTok. Just keeping up with the team so far. A lot of changes, especially managerial.
Yes. So that's kind of where we kind of wanted to start off with, because we've had our choice words of Mr. Gary Neville. You guys are going very Brit-like. Now you are a Man U guy, right? So this is kind of. Are you like 50-50 with this? How do you feel about Neville?
No, as a player, he's unquestionable. As a manager, no. I'm not too convinced. At this moment, no.
I thought you were going to go, no, marica. I guess when you're right.
I don't know if I can say that here.
No entienden acá, tranquilo. I'm just kidding. But so what's it feel down in Miami though? What was everyone saying about this Miami team? Because for you guys, we talked about it during the season. You guys started it like we were expecting Atlanta United 2.0, LA Galaxy baby like. And it really didn't happen that way.
It was more like FC Cincinnati 1.5. With the half being a playoff berth.
Yeah, it was trying to be like the Galaxy getting Higuain, Matuidi, and then trying to be like LAFC getting guys like Carranza, stuff like that. But it just didn't work.
Johnny, and I asked Kevin. We were talking about this before the show, and now I assume you've heard what I'm going to refer to as Tamgate or Matuidi Gate, if we want to go for it. The MLS is starting to look into that deal, whether he was paid outside of the structure, given that he was considered a TAM player, which did seem surprising at the time. I know that was definitely a bit of a surprise. Kev, what have you heard regarding this? And what are your feelings about Beckham and this whole situation of like, you guys might, I don't know how much hot water you guys might be in.
Well, if there's one guy that knows how to get deals done, he got getting the team, Beckham. Beckham knows. And Paul McDonough, he's been rather quiet, and Miami fans are wondering, did he say something? Ooh. As a legend, though.
Went back to Atlanta, I was like, not.
But supposedly, I saw today in the Miami Herald that some verdicts are coming out that Matuidi is going to be DP. They're going to force him to become a DP from the Miami Herald.
No kind of like fines or no, because like I mean, not that the league conducted many investigations like this before, but it definitely seemed initially like a little suspect at first.
Yes, it's like the Zlatan deal when he first signed. People thought also there was something on the table there, but then he became a DP the following year. But according to the Miami Herald, that he's going to be a designated player, and that Carranza is going to have to become Young Money.
That's right. I forgot the Young Money.
Young Money
comes in more this year.
Just real quick, guys, I know the Flyers are on. Trust me, I have my T-shirt on. Like, I know the Flyers are on. If you guys are new to this, it's Soccer Tuesday. It is DOOP By The River Tuesday. We focus on the Philadelphia Union MLS. If you guys want, I will do Flyers coverage after this podcast. I'm going to watch the game in totality without commercials, and I'll record right after, and I'll have all my thoughts on it. So don't worry, guys. I didn't forget about the orange and black. Don't you dare worry. But
now in the blue and gold, guys. Come on.
Yes, it's blue and gold Tuesdays, ladies and gentlemen. But no, I wanted to get you on here as well because, look, it's very early. And like we said, not much has been going on with the MLS as a whole right now, right? Really right now, we are in beginning of March, almost at the midway through March. We are less than a month, or no, we're actually almost a month away from the start of the season, right?
Just over a month. The first MLS game is April 17th.
17th, yes.
So, Kev, now it is March 9th, 2021. It's a little early, but what do you predict? Now, we only care about the Eastern Conference here, all right? No disrespect to the West, but we the East here, okay? So where do you see this Eastern Conference going next season?
Man, Atlanta's going to be the one to talk about first.
Really? You were buying this Atlanta rebirth?
I think so. Under Heinze, I believe so. With Argentinian players coming over, those South American players.
I know they re-upped on those guys. Oh wait, this is not what I wanted. Why did this happen? I had the standings here, but so you like Atlanta right now at the top?
Yes, Atlanta. I know they need time to gel, but it's MLS. The first half of the season is always more forgiving.
That's true. All right, so let me scroll down here. So this is what happened last year, man. All right, so you had obviously us finishing in first, Toronto, Columbus, Orlando. So do we have any word on what the structure is going to look like next year for the playoffs? Is it going to be the same thing with the 17 or 10 teams?
I think it's going to go. I imagine it's going to go back to 7. Because 7 was what it was the year prior, because it was first got a bye, and then 2 played 7, 3 and 6, 4 and 5. Unless it's changing, I think that they're going back to the old structure.
So it's going to be 6 teams, right? That's what we had before.
7 teams. 2019 was the first year they brought in. Right. They changed it to the 7th team.
Listen, it was a long year. Okay, so what do you? So obviously, we have 7 teams, right? So where do you see, like, what kind of shuffle do you see happening with the 7 playoff teams next year?
Depending,
I see
Toronto dropping a little bit. Toronto and New York City dropping a little bit.
NYCFC dropping, you see, huh? Yeah. And so do you see them still being playoff teams, though?
Just barely. Depends a couple of signings the next few weeks, because there's rumors always with City Football Group getting them other players.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. You don't worry.
That oil money.
With one player in particular, but that's interesting. It's just like NYCFC, bro. Like, I always feel every year, they've kind of like gotten away from, remember the David Villa, Andre Pirlo days, and now they're trying. Now they're like getting like the Alexander Matrito, whatever his name was, like players like that, Erber and Castellanos, who just left for Palmeiras, which is a surprise. So I never know with NYCFC.
I think they realized that model wasn't consistent. Like, it wasn't sustainable for them. It was something that unless you're the LAFCs, you've got to be able to bring in some young talent, and then realize that, like, okay, you're not going to be getting the Zlatans, the Messis, the Ronaldos, but if you get a guy, I mean, if you get look at Eber, when he was healthy, he was a pretty damn good striker, and yeah, Matriza, until he left, I mean, Matriza was one of the few bright spots on that team, with Maxi Morales coming in and out of the lineup with injuries. And Castellanos, if he could stay on his feet, was a half decent player. But I think that you're starting to realize more and more that a lot of these teams that came in flashing a bunch of cash realize that it might not be necessarily sustainable if your team isn't going to like structure itself around a certain identity. Splashing money every year is not really an identity at this point.
Right. Oh, I agree with you, man. I agree.
Sure.
So, put you on the spot.
Oh,
where do you see Philly going next year?
Philly, you got to replace Aronson for me to be a little bit more confident to be higher up.
You and a bunch of Union fans as well.
No, but you guys are still in the playoffs. I see you guys 4th.
I'm right there with you. I think this team takes a step back, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Look, the midfield thing does concern me a little bit, only because of depth. I don't know if you remember Anthony Fontana, which we all are kind of pretty high on here in Philly. But, the problem is you're going into this season, you're in CONCACAF Champions League for the first time in your franchise's history, right? That's grueling. And it's not fair for us as a whole because of the whole scheduling situation with MLS and the other leagues in CONCACAF. So that's already tough as it is. So then you go into this season, which is cool because you're already warmed up. But then, like, you got to get into the U.S. Open Cup, and we have, like, the I forget the other tournament. What's the other tournament, Justin, that we're kind of playing? Leagues Cup?
The Leagues Cup and Campeones Cup, but what the Open Cup is, like, it's restructured 24 teams, and You have I don't know if they're still attempting to do the Campeones in the League's Cup. I think they said they might. I know it all depends because you still have the Olympics this summer. You have qualifying, and we talked about this. So like the increase in games. I mean, CONCACAF qualifying for the World Cup starts in September. You have Olympic qualifying starting basically right now. Like there's going to be a lot of games, and the question I think we've been asking of the union, and I think Kevin can ask of Inter Miami is do these teams have the depth to go through the season? That's the question we asked last year. It's a question we're asking again this year for every team. Do you have the depth to sustain this kind of a season? Because while it's not going to be as compact as last season, it's still going to. If they're starting in April and they want to get this done by December, you're going to have at least two, maybe 3 games a week.
For sure.
Yeah, man, you're absolutely right. So that's pretty much where we're kind of, at with the union. Obviously, I don't know if you heard us in the beginning. We just saw Ray Gaddis retire. Who, wasn't the most talented, but that was a veteran guy, especially in the back line. You have some good youngsters there. Excuse me. Those definitely hurt a little bit, but we'll see. Ernst has stated as well. He sees 1 or 2 more signings coming in, which is going to be tough going forward because obviously not a lot of time to get instilled and get acclimated with the MLS game.
But if anyone can do it, Ernst can. I mean, come on.
That guy finds gems everywhere.
The man, like at this point, like we keep saying, oh, when are they going to sign someone? When are they going to sign someone? Like you look at Ernst's track record, I can maybe count on one hand the amount of like quote unquote failures, and some of them might still be in progress. The biggest failure would be Orvets, and he's still kind of we didn't really see anything from him last year, so let's see.
Hey, Putin is scoring, just not here.
I was going to say, yeah. When he scored the 1 goal in the that doesn't count in the MLS is back, but like the track record that Ernst has is phenomenal. And the fact that you just brought in a guy who was at Leipzig, at Salzburg, a guy who led some, I believe it was Eintracht Frankfurt's like U17s to like the chip, like you're bringing in coaches who have a history of developing young talent, and you have you have these young players coming through in the first team. You have Marlon LeBlanc, who's going to be coaching whatever the second team is at this point. Right. I know the union literally just signed 2 brothers from Ecuador.
Yeah, the Zambrano brothers.
The older one apparently is a striker who, if he develops a bit of more of a physical game, might be one of the next. Because we've been clamoring for a young striker to come through the ranks, so we'll see. But like, I as much as I would love to see a replacement.
So if he's not Erling Haaland, I don't want any parts of it, Justin.
those grow on trees.
His cousin he's killing in Norwegian.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh my God! There's a whole family line going now. That's great.
Dad played for Man City and Leeds back in the day, so
that's right. So this AK Gaming and actually someone else, this Owen guy said it as well. What do we think of Columbus? I mean, I love what they're doing this.
I don't think they're good. Like, I'd love to say they would grind it out, but of any of the teams that really would be suited to grinding out games, I feel like Portland. I know Portland had quote unquote a down year, but like Portland, when I think of grinded out games, I mean a lot of the games aren't pretty, but they somehow get by. I know the crew aren't exactly scoring goals and buckets, but I can't remember the last time that they've even been in this position, and I don't know. I just think that the defenses in these Central American teams aren't going to give Giassi Zardes the time of day to be able to make these back shoulder runs. I think you're gonna see Zelarayan on his butt because CONCACAF's gonna CONCACAF, and what everyone knows what that means. It means choppy, physical, ugly.
Yeah, but don't you think his experience is going to help a little bit?
I mean, I know they have some depth, and I know they have some. I don't know if I see an MLS team this year making a genuine run. I mean, I know we've talked about if the Union get past the Aprisa, they might have a shot at winning another round, but that's being hopeful in itself if we're being honest. So
I like what Columbus did. And quick tidbit, as Owen mentions, Matan, they bought him for 1.5. I think that's what I saw the number as. So he better listen. He better come in here and he better ball for Columbus if they pay 1.5. This is the MLS. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
The MLS.
For sure, Justin. You said which teams could have the depth. I think there's only two, which is Columbus now with the new signings they've been making, Molino, BWP. They keep Arthur, Nagby. What's the guy, the Argentinian guy, Zelarayan?
Yeah.
And the other one's Seattle. I think those are the only two teams that this year are a little bit more affected with some injuries and losing some players, but I still feel that they have the depth. I think that the Crew for sure are one of the favorites in the top two.
Didn't they just sign a backup striker?
Who's that?
Seattle?
Yeah, why am I blanking on
Montero.
Yeah, Freddie
yeah. El Parcero.
Colombia.
That's where I could see Seattle maybe being that team because that's a good guy to have coming off the bench behind Rui Diaz. So I don't know. Columbus to me just like not that what they did was a flash in the pan, right. But I just don't know against like I said, playing these Central American teams is going to be a test for. I mean, for at least everyone. Well, I mean, I think it's for Columbus and for Philly who have not played in this competition, or at least if Columbus has, they haven't played in a while. It's gonna be a wake up call. It's that kind of competition.
Better take care of business. They're playing the Nicaraguense club. They better take care of business. I'm just saying.
The Crew has some Central American players. I think Diaz, Panamanian.
I believe
Costa Rican, Argentinians. Those players have, like you said, John, they have used to playing in South America, and the style is more or less similar. So that kind of helps.
Kevin, so really interesting comment that was brought up here, and I want to direct this towards you because this kind of this correlates with us, but oh man, this kind of sucks as well. So Rafael Santos Borré, and this rumor has been lingering around for a little bit. 2 weeks ago it was Minnesota and TFC, and now as of late I did see that TFC has been clamoring for this as well. Look, I haven't really paid attention too much to the Argentinian the league, the Superliga, but I have been hearing that Santos Borré has been falling off with River Plate just a little bit. But, especially, in Colombia, in Colombia, they still kind of have the stigma here in the MLS as well. Like, if you're going to the MLS, your career is really not going to go that far. And so what are your thoughts on Santos Borré potentially coming to MLS? I mean,
for Toronto, it would be a good match. To me, it seems that I heard in the Allocation Disorder, the podcast, they were talking about that TFC under Armas might do two strikers. So Borré and Altidore and Akinola on the bench. But there's
that's interesting.
But also the possibility I heard that Borré might be free in the contract in a few months is another thing. But that Brazilian clubs were after him. So they had flown over to speak with him. But for TFC, I think it would be a great signing. I know they had Piatti before in that DP spot, but I think Borré would do absolutely tremendous in this league.
I think if we can find a way to get Santos Borré here to the MLS, that'd be big for our league.
He's 29?
He's 25.
25?
He's only 25.
For a while, that was it? Carlos Baca should have been. That would have been a few years ago. That would have been
a few years ago.
That would have been a good move.
He loves Villarreal for whatever reason. He loves it there. He's been there for a while now, right, Kev? Kevin knows
for
better about La Liga than me.
3-4 years now. 3-4
Well,
years.
But did he spend some time with Milan on loan, or was he?
On loan. It was on loan.
Okay, that's absolutely crazy. No, I mean, like, look, this is what I'm saying. Like, getting those type of players to come here and continue. Look, even if he doesn't have a European future, like, still that is pretty cool to have a player like that. You know, somehow. We just saw what happened with Pity. Pity came here, like 26, 27, played a couple seasons, and then he got sold off to Saudi Arabia, I believe he's at, or I forget where he's at.
Yep.
But we'll see what happens there, man.
Same thing could happen. You're right.
Yeah, man, absolutely. See what you guys got some good stuff. Good comments coming here. Good comments. What's this here? Well, first off, thank you so much for this. Listen, I'm trying here. I'm definitely trying. I'm 100%. FC Cincinnati. Wait, who did they sign?
It was $13 million. It was Brenner. It's 13. It can go up to 15, which is like, FC Cincinnati deciding, oh, maybe we should spend some money, on offense, because when you score 12 goals all season, you need people to put the ball in the net.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Before we move on here, Kev, so where do you see Inter Miami falling here? So obviously you finished in 10th place last year. Where do you see your team falling next year?
With the team a little bit more gelled, the only problem with the new coach, learning another system, maybe in the last 2 playoff spots.
You think? Oh, because you think they're 6th or 7th. I do think the Red Bull could take a step back. I think Orlando still be in the mix. I like Nashville. I think they've had an underrated offseason as well. They made a couple signings, and they kind of like overachieved last year, so we'll see what they could do, or they could flop. I think Montreal is going to be bad. You're high on Atlanta. It's going to be this Eastern Conference is not going to be easy next year. It's definitely going to be tricky. These 7 spots are definitely not going to be in lock for sure, man. Should be a lot.
And I don't know how much having 2 teams play in the same stadium is going to affect the field and could affect one or the other. With Montreal being in Fort Lauderdale also.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
It's kind of like with Toronto and playing in Orlando. And if those purple jerseys are true, I made a joke to my Orlando City friend. I said, at least the first time a team in purple playing in Orlando has won an MLS Cup.
And as AK Gaming goes, my team's good. So Kevin, AK Gaming is a Chicago Fire fan, and I'm sure they're not very optimistic these days over in Chicago.
Next year, you got the young Colombian kid. I think is coming.
Yes, they made some good young signings, but it'll definitely take some. You got to trust your process. That's a process you definitely got to trust here. So, Kevin, what else is going on? So for those who don't know, Kevin is really big on TikTok. He does mostly worldwide soccer stuff, but he does specifically a lot of the Euro game as well. It's great because he does it directed towards the American soccer fan, which is really great to hear. So what's been going on, man? So every Monday, I do the Philly Sports Talk Show with the Philly Sports Guy, and the one question everyone asks me every week when we get to soccer is, when is Messi coming to MLS? So what can I tell my people on Monday night when it comes to Messi?
Well, that's the big question. It all depends where he goes. If he goes to Manchester City, then we could see him here in 2 years. In New York. But New York's got to get the stadium, man. They're taking way too long.
Yeah, we're
going to want to play at Yankee Field. That's definitely regulation.
Did they play there a game? When he was on the Cosmos.
Oh no, that was at the Giants Stadium when it was there.
Okay. I thought they played like a game like at one of the baseball fields, just one. I know they played at Giants Stadium, but I didn't know if they played at a friendly at Shea Field or Yankee Stadium. Look. I think when it comes to the MLS, like, it's definitely a league not really suited for the old European stars who are looking to settle down. But listen, Messi is freaking Messi. So if Messi wants to come here and play in the MLS, by all means, he's more than welcome to. I don't care where you play for the Red Bull. I don't care. It's cool to see him there.
He has an apartment in Miami, so that's also an option.
But it's just something. Go ahead, Justin.
I'll say, whenever it's I love now that, like, as soon as Beckham got involved with Miami, it was like anyone and everyone it's always been okay. LA is always the attractive option, and I don't know why they consider New York an attractive option. It's an okay city, let's be honest. And then as soon as Beckham came in, it was, oh my God, Griezmann, Ronaldo, Messi, everyone's coming to Miami, and it's like, how are they going to afford all these players? Like, it's great you're being linked, but at what point do you just go, okay, yeah, Paulo Dybala is going to the MLS. He's going into Miami. It's like, wait a minute here. Like, at some point, you can't do an LA Galaxy and bend the rules and have 15 DPs.
Oh, they did it with Matt Tweedy already. So they're learning how to get away from the rules. But that's one of the things that I think the team did to shot themselves in the foot. Saying we're gonna get the best coaches, Ancelotti. We're gonna get the best players, and then you see what happened the first year, and a lot of fans were left disappointed.
Yeah, man. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So what's going on with Barca, man?
Oh man, that's when you were talking about Messi. I'm like, I want him to retire there. But the team is building good. I mean, this past 8-9 days have been the best in a while. Beating Sevilla in the Copa del Rey after being 2-0 down.
I heard about that.
And then beating Osasuna on the weekend. And then with Madrid and Atletico time, 3 points behind Atleti. Still got to play the Clásico and Atleti. And then new president. Great week.
So this is definitely a good three-headed race for La Liga, right?
La Liga is going to be interesting right now. For sure.
Real, how far are they off?
They're 5 points from Atleti. 2 points behind.
Doesn't Atleti have some games in hand though, which is the big one? They have like a couple games in hand. At least that.
One game in hand.
Yeah, so it's
very interesting. So who's in fourth? But just out of curiosity,
fourth is I think Sevilla.
Sevilla, I was going to say it's always Sevilla. We were growing up, bro. Valencia was in that mix. They just kind of fell off.
They're the last team.
Real Sociedad was up in the top four.
Last year they were with Ogar.
That started great. With David Silva coming back, they had the big thing, but then second half of the season they fell.
Yeah, they got former former United great Adnan Januzaj still shows up every so often. I forgot he was still at Sociedad.
It's tough for me because these Philly sports, they never sleep, and I don't have time for much other stuff. But when it comes to the Euro game, like, I don't want to be the same basic American soccer fan who just watches the Premier League every week. And in some of these other leagues, it's tough. Like Bundesliga, I feel like we're not getting enough coverage yet for it as much as I would like to see it in America. I think the Bundesliga can offer some great things for the American fan. Serie A, we've gotten to that, man. You guys know why I don't really watch your Serie A anymore. La Liga is tough because obviously it's like every year it's Real, it's Barca, and Atleti, they might compete here and there, and you have like your Sevilla. Yeah, you have your Sevillas. But I bet these for a minute was really tinkering in there as well. Valencia has their moments too. It's tough, man. But as an American fan, what do you really watch?
And Premier League, obviously, because it's the most competitive. You have more teams that can actually battle to win the league. But besides that, I would say the Bundesliga. You have a lot of Americans there to watch, develop. You saw what happened. Pulisic, Gio Reyna's there. McKinney got a big move from there. So that's another league that I really recommend that people watch. They play exciting football. They give a lot of trust to the youth, not just to youth players, but the coaches too. You see Nagelsmann is like 40 years old. And the fans there are tremendous. So
Nagelsmann's going to be the next great manager, no? The next Mourinho?
I don't.
Well, no, Mourinho. No one wants to be the next Mourinho.
Oh, man.
You're gonna bounce every 3 years to clubs because you still adhere to the old school style of managing and calling players out when it's really your fault.
It's very true. Very true. Very true. All right, guys, we're about there at our hour time here for DOOP by the River. Kevin, seriously, man, thank you so much for hopping on. Look, I wanted to get someone on here. Especially you're absolutely killing it right now on TikTok, giving everyone the soccer news and updates that they absolutely need. So for everyone out there, where can people find you, Kev?
At Kevin _Acosta, ACOSTA 10. on TikTok.
Awesome stuff. Yes, absolutely. Definitely make sure to follow him on TikTok. Where can they find you on Twitter? We got some people here on Twitter. Where can they find you there?
At LEL_Gringo, GRINGO, football, FUTBOL.
I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Kevin, we'll definitely get in touch during the season, man. We'll talk some Inter Miami when that time comes. I know we're all waiting for the schedule to come out. We're ready to make our plans.
Seriously, the schedule
Go to
drop.
some games finally.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Justin and I are trying to set up some away trips and some home game stuff too. So, we really MLS, get that schedule out there, man.
Sure. Thank you guys for having me on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're trying to set up preview matches here with other cards. Come on, we gotta get this.
Stadium's
stuff on.
15 minutes away.
Oh, Kev's got it good there. Kev's got it good. I'm still like a 20-minute drive to Subaru Park, but hey, it's definitely not bad. Justin, what are your eyes gonna be watching this weekend?
This weekend, it'll be interesting. Of course, my Man U play West Ham on Sunday. I know my good buddy Bob is a West Ham fan, so he will be on my case about that. It'll be interesting. I mean, this weekend, I'm looking at the stuff. There's not much. Maybe if Brendan's playing in the Salzburg game on Saturday. I mean, Premier League, you got Leeds, Chelsea at 7:30. There's not a whole lot. Like it can be pretty quiet during the weekends, certain weekends. I honestly, it's if I'm in the house, which most of the time I'm definitely in the house.
Nice.
These days, I most likely soccer will be on the TV when I'm not out for a walk or I don't know, trying to do something around this house.
It's not a bad problem to have, man. I do have a bone to pick with the Chelsea fans, and I'm talking to Paul Catrino and Adam Booth and Mackie and Dazik. They put the beating on my Everton yesterday. I saw they beat them 2-0, and I just I got the notification through my phone. I was like, I'm done with the Prem.
Poor Hammers can't even play it.
Bro. It's rough, man. Remember how good the season started?
It is amazing to see English announcers be able to pronounce it James correctly. James Rodriguez. I'm like, the first announcer that said James, I'm like, you said it right. Like, what?
It's because they're British national team fans, and there was a little rivalry started after last World Cup. So,
for sure.
All right. Seriously, thank you so much to Kevin Acosta for joining us. Justin, it was truly a pleasure to rock with you during this episode of DOOP By The River. Next week, we will get Tim Lovinguth back. Don't you dare worry, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time, guys, definitely stay tuned for that. Make sure, guys, to subscribe to El Parcero Philly's YouTube channel. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at DOOP By The River podcast on Twitter as well. Definitely stay tuned. If you guys want to re-listen to it, or you didn't get a chance to listen to it, let your buddies know. Hey, DOOP By The River, they are going to have it on wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever you listen to podcasts, we'll have it up on there as well probably tomorrow morning. So stay tuned for that. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Kevin Acosta. That is Justin from El Parcero Philly, and we're telling you guys to DOOP on. We'll talk to you guys very soon.